In class, we are presented with a video about a college professor who is a single mom who woke up with a sick child and had no other option, she felt, than to bring her child to class with her because the child was unable to go to daycare due to the fact that it was sick. Not only did the professor bring the child to class with her, but she also breastfed her child during the very first class of the semester. This interferes with how a professor should want to be perceived by their students. A professor should want to be perceived as being somebody that's polished, competent, and knowledgeable in the subject that they're teaching. A lot of times professors present themselves in that way by the clothes they wear, how they prepare for class, and how they engage with the students in class. By bringing her daughter to class, the professor should have expected her students to perceive her as being unmindful, as being inattentive, because she's not focusing her full attention on the class as she should be. She's focusing probably more of her attention than what she thinks on her 1-year-old daughter. She's also comes across as being unprepared. If the child's 1 year old and regularly going to daycare, you would expect that the mother would be pumping and sending bottles with the child to be given during the day. So if the professor had no other choice but to bring the child with her, she could have easily been feeding a bottle rather than breastfeeding her child during class. And she should also expect her students to perceive her as being very lax with the rules. If she's just bringing her daughter to class, who's to say that if there's a single mom that's a student in class that she can't bring her daughter or son, save on daycare, bring her child to school with her? The students wouldn't really know what to expect as far as rules. So comparing this to how students should see their professors, I think that the students wouldn't be taking this professor very seriously. I would have a hard time sitting through class that had a 1-year-old child. By 1 year old, most children are not going to be sitting in a classroom quietly, especially if they're sick. They're going to be moving around and they're going to be fussy. I would have a hard time taking her seriously and really understanding the material that she's trying to present. When an instructor goes into a classroom, they should command the attention of their students. And if you're bringing in a child that's rolling around the classroom, fussing, whining, you're not going to be having your students' attention. The students are going to not want to listen to what you have to say and would be more interested in other things. Especially since this was a sex, gender, and culture class, as a student I would question whether or not this was a real necessity or whether or not the professor was just doing this to spark a debate, especially since it's such a hot topic. This would really make me question because of the fact, like I said earlier, if she had been prepared, she would have brought a bottle to class with her rather than breastfeeding her child in the middle of class. For me, what this boils down to isn't so much the issue of her breastfeeding her child in the middle of class. It's more or less the fact that at a university level, I'm paying for a service from my professors from the university. And by her presenting herself unprofessionally and bringing that child to class, that's very distracting and you're not going to get the same amount of knowledge that you should. By going to a university, not only do I expect the professors to be professional, but they're also expecting a level of professionalism from me. Although I wear camouflage and usually smell like a horse when I go to school, I still give 100% attention to my professors, and I expect that back from them as well.